Good morning, everyone. It is 10 o'clock. If you'd like to come on in and find a seat. We'll start here real quick. All right, it is 10:01 this morning. I want to welcome everyone to the Union County Fair, to our August board meeting. At this point, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I would ask the board, is there any disclosures of interest today? Hearing none, the previous board minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second, Anderson.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Review of the agenda.
There are no changes, Chair.
Approval as presented, Anderson.
Second, Flanders.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Consent items. We have one consent item.
Just a comment, and then I'll move to approve. But Rob Keane from Lake City has been an excellent member of the Cemetery Board, and he would be a good addition to our Housing Trust Board. So I would move approval for Rob Keane.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Administration reports from department and officials.
Okay, we have two items today. The first one is the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources land acquisition, and the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources is here, so I'd have them come forward. And then after their presentation, I do have one note. So right here.
So, yeah, I'm just here to discuss a possible land acquisition. It is adjacent to 80 acres of state-owned property that is already in the hands of DNR Wildlife. It's the Woodbury State Wildlife Management Area west of here, I'd say about halfway between Zumbrota and Wanamingo. The local Pheasants Forever chapter was approached by the landowner to see if they had any interest in purchasing the property and then having DNR purchase it back from them to make it a part of the existing wildlife area. One of the interesting aspects of this possible acquisition is 15.5 acres of it are already in a Reinvest in Minnesota easement. So those acres are already protected forever, and it'll be great for DNR to get it in our hands because we have the tools to manage these properties and have the opportunity to get funding for restoration purposes to make sure that those acres stay in that interesting wetland prairie upland habitat. One thing to note about the Woodbury property already is it's only 80 acres. Usually when we look to acquire new properties in a whole, now we look for 160 acres. Just that way there's enough room for people to recreate with numerous folks can use the property without running into one another. So this helps expand that footprint of that specific unit where numerous folks can use it at the same time without having to run into one another. The 40 acres that are proposed, it's all non-tillable property. There's essentially no agriculture on it apart from like 1 acre, just tiny little field corners. So we're not losing productive land. We're just essentially asking to get some already wildlife habitat and manage it as if we're already a part of the existing parcel.
Any questions from board members? Go ahead.
Well, mine's not a question, so mine's the note I wanted to give. I'll go ahead and give the note that at the point where the board is deliberating to determine the outcome on this agenda item, I just want to note that the parcel 38.033.0802 has unpaid taxes of $301.40 if they're paid by August 31st, 2024. So if you do move forward with this, I think that a condition that those are paid either by Department of Natural Resources or Pheasants Forever prior to taking action on this.
That is an important point. I don't think the land can close. A sale can't close till property taxes are either paid or, so if it's back taxes, that'll happen, I'm sure. My question is, when land goes in and becomes built, how often is it revalued for built?
It's every 6 years, which I believe is longer than what the North County rate is, or the county length is. So PILT is a little bit confusing even to me, but the way that it works, from my understanding, is like as the property is appraised or purchased, the purchase price will be used to calculate those PILT payments for the amount of time until the next change in those appraisal rates. And I don't know where we're at in that 6-year period right now. I don't think we're at the 6-year time like starts when we get it. So it'll be that 0.75% of the appraised value that will be paid to the county and distributed to the townships at that appraisal value up until that 6th year when the land values are then reappraised. And then it'll move on another 6-year time scale until it's changed.
Well, and that's kind of what I thought it was. There was a time period where we locked the rate.
Yep.
We lock it with the state. On our side, when we assess values of property, if that land, that type of land changed value, we change it every year. So it's not, we don't wait 6 years to change anything. It has to follow what sales dictate it follow. And I just wanted to make that, I knew that was the case. I just want to make that point. I'm not opposed to this. I just, there's a part of the bill which is very difficult for counties to deal with because it really doesn't follow what the rest of the county values. That's what the point.
Yeah, no, I completely understand it. It is interesting and kind of hard to follow how different that is compared to how it's usually done with normal tax payments.
And then the second question, and you kind of alluded to it in what you were talking about, this is being purchased in conjunction with Pheasants Forever.
So Pheasants Forever was approached by the landowner, and they have the money from oftentimes like the legislature to purchase lands and put them into conservation. And a lot of times how that works is they will purchase it using their own money and then hold that until DNR can get the funds to essentially buy it back from them for that purchase price. And then the land gets transferred to managed funds.
So while Pheasants Forever is involved in this, ultimately the end is it will be DNR property and managed by DNR.
Yep, and the main reason there is they know that DNR has the capacity to do the land management, where Pheasants Forever doesn't generally have the staffing to manage properties at that same level.
Okay. I will move approval, as I stated.
We have a second.
With that condition of the name that has that.
Well, yes, but I also know you can't transfer property without taxes being current. But yes, with that. Yep.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. The second item is a discussion about our annual EDA summit, and we have Ron Ziegler and Laura Pauley from CETA, Central Community Economic Development Associates.
Good morning, Commissioners and staff. Thank you
Morning.
for the time on the agenda today. As many of you recall, we have done an economic development summit for a number of years, probably last 13, 14 years. Prior to COVID, we had the summits in person. Attendance was sometimes very good, sometimes rather low. When COVID came along, we went to a virtual summit. And then the last few years, we've done a series of events dealing with housing. So this year, we're looking at the possibility of bringing the in-person events back. We put before you a proposal as to topics that we thought would be prudent. In the past, we've always brought this to county board or EDA meeting if there is one, just to get some input on that. This year, we're looking at putting together a program that centers more on the cities in the county and talking about development. As you know, there's many different development happenings in each of our cities within Goodhue County, and we just think that it would be prudent to get people in a room and hear the same thing and see what's going on in each of the communities. We did put an opportunity for the county commissioners and county department heads to bring updates. Commissioner Flanders has done some great research on housing, so we're hoping that we can ask her to be part of this as well. So that's what we're looking at. We don't have a date set yet. That's something that we would work with your county staff just to make sure we don't interfere with other meetings and things like that. But we're here today just to introduce that topic to you, try and get some input from you, see if there are other things you would like us to concentrate on this forum.
I have worked with Red Wing Ignite, and we do have a date tentatively earmarked with them for September 18th. So we do have a first block from like 7:30 in the morning to like 2 in the afternoon set aside already with them, just because their calendar fills up quite a bit, but they've got the technology, they've got the space. So we've tried to get that set aside already. We have worked with Commissioner or County Administrator Arneson to kind of work with what would work best, hopefully with your schedules and your meeting dates as well. But yeah, we would take any feedback that you may have. But that way we could talk about what's going on in the communities. We've also got a couple communities within Goodhue County that have some bonding projects that they were awarded within last year that have now started this year. And then also other grant funds that have maybe been acquired that are also being implemented within projects that they could talk about as well.
All right. Anything else for our guests?
Just a comment, and I think it may be a conflict. It may be the Southeast Minnesota multi-county housing. That's a regular meeting date for them. Wednesday,
Okay.
September 18th. Just check.
Okay,
Sometimes in September we have a meeting later in the month, and that one's. But on my calendar, it still shows. So just check.
We'll verify that.
We
Okay.
would certainly want our HRA involved
absolutely.
in this. So
Okay,
just check with Buffy on that.
sure. I'll do that.
Any other thoughts or questions of us?
I think it's really, the way you put it together, it's a good program. I think also including the housing data Linda works on and a little bit about the sewer project that the 5 cities are working on. That's like a model project for the state of Minnesota, and I think all of us need to be on board to help push that at the legislature. They didn't do a bonding bill. It's kind of a little bit of a hiccup in the system. we really hope they can get back on track to get that, to keep going forward. So I think hearing about that's a really good piece of this.
All right. Okay, if there's nothing else, well, thank you.
You bet.
Very
Thanks.
appreciate it. Before we get to Public Works, I did miss a special thank you to our Fair Board for allowing us to be here today I was at the autocross last night, asked one of the Fair Board members, I said, any idea on volunteer hours that go on out here? And he's kind of scared to add it all up. So very appreciated, thank you very much for allowing us to be here. Very appreciate all the Public Works.
Morning, Commissioners. Hopefully everyone can hear me. I'm here today to visit with you about our Kenyon cleanup days. These were established earlier this year. Corrected Public Works on schedule. 5 collections at our Kenyon shop happening at the end of each month. We've had 2 of them so far. We collect 5 different categories: scrap metal, appliances, electronics, tires, furniture. The combined amount of tires and scrap metal and glasses collection 0. We've had 16 customers at the first event and 19 customers last event. Majority of those being from the city of Kenyon. There's a breakout of what was collected in the report. So we've had a total of 35 customers at the 2 events. We've collected just under $1,500 in fees. While the expenses are completely known, we've accrued approximately just under $1,600 in costs, and that includes our dumpster rentals, disposal costs, and does not include employee costs or equipment. So today I'm bringing the board the information. This report is very similar to the FYI that was presented in July. And with that, staff seeking direction from the board on how you want to proceed with future events.
Any comments from the board?
Are we getting any feedback from the people in Kenya about what they think?
The people that have shown up seem to appreciate it. Kenyon has a cleanup days of their own, spring of each year.
I see. And do you have any idea how much is brought to that kind of thing?
I did not inquire with the city.
Todd, are you hearing anything?
The townships, they say that a lot of it's timing. Sometimes their maintenance person doesn't have that afternoon or that morning off. So it's, they have their stuff, some of it's collected, and sometimes they have so much that they just have to get rid of it before they can store it all for that long. So it's, I appreciate that we're doing something. I don't know if there's something that we carry out and do the 5 that we planned on, see how it goes, or if it doesn't financially make sense to do it. So I guess where everybody said.
My base question when we started this whole thing was, why is it necessarily the county's responsibility? I didn't know, and maybe we didn't know, that Kenyon had their own cleanup days. I know other communities do. I don't know what's in Grove, Wanamingo, Cannon Falls. I would be fine with saying that we tried it, we did it. Cities have a responsibility too, and the townships can bring more information for us. How there's, you can't just cater to ones over by the Kenyon area just because that's where the plan is. So I would be fine with saying we tried it, we did it. Let's collect more input from townships that's what's majorly going to the grounds and see what they want to do. I can't see that it makes sense to spend county money anymore on it. So.
Go ahead, Brad.
So,
Go ahead.
so I think the question's already answered, so the 3 medicine, those are all going to be in Kenyon as well? Is that
Yep, we
correct?
hold them at our maintenance facility on the eastern side of Kenyon, just off Highway 60.
Okay, and that's the reason that it's in Kenyon, because of that.
Yes, yep, it provides us the ability to staff easier and store equipment that we need there.
So I mean, looking at the numbers alone, it does not appear as if it was used as much as it cost. I'd be interested in collecting data on a second one, but after that, if you collect, I mean, if you looked at the data and saw that it wasn't any different than this, I guess I would also look at it that we've done our part.
The two events that we've had are almost identical. First one had 16 customers, the second had 18. We collected a total of 45 pieces of drop-off material at each event. In terms of success, it seems like they've been rather lackluster.
Right, I guess that's what I saw as well, so I would lean in the direction of Commissioner Majerus that, okay, we did it, and it just didn't work out as well as we had hoped. I don't think I would necessarily support that we continue it.
Okay, anyone else?
I would side with Linda and Jason on this.
All right, it's just been such a frustrating issue with all the, all the things get thrown in the ditch and hearing and, I don't want to throw money away either, and I feel there's some things that we do at the county that, we're not going to necessarily make money off of every time, but, there's services that we can provide, but, it sounds like the consensus right now is to, discontinue this. So unless there's any other, Brad?
My only comment would be, we're scheduled to have 3 more.
Yes.
I would skip the one in August, do the one in September, and then not do the one in October, which could have more weather-related issues if we do that late in October. I would do 1 more, and then I would say we need to figure out if we're going to do anything in the future. And I think that needs to be done in communication with cities and with townships. And I think we should, at some point, bring them all together and have a discussion. How do we deal with this? Because quite frankly, I think bigger than the collection of this kind of material is really around the homeowners with small demolition projects, and that is the real question. And I think we need to answer that. So I would do 1 more. If the rest of the board says don't, then that's the way it is. My recommendation would be 1 more, then have a meeting and bring all the players in and talk about it. So either set up a committee, solid waste committee can do it, or do it as a special committee.
I would be in favor of that. I guess the other 3, but I don't know. You okay with that?
It's never gonna make us money. Just, I don't care how many people show up, it will never be enough to offset. We're not gonna get enough dollars, charge enough dollars to offset our employee costs. It's just never gonna be. Because recycling it's not a cost generator, or not a revenue generator, it's a cost generator. We all know.
So do we have a general consensus to try 1 more in September? Looks like yes, we do. So let's shoot for 1 more and compile the data and take another look at it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And spread the word out there to your townships so that we have on the south side of the county. All right, now we will be bringing up our extension office. Welcome.
Good morning. Welcome to the fair. I'm just gonna give a quick rundown of our exhibit numbers for the year. And then I'm gonna turn it over to this group of young people behind me who recently returned from an international dairy judging trip that they won due to their success over the last year, judging locally. So this year at the fair, we welcomed 1,371 exhibits into our building. There's 167 head of beef cattle on the premises, 104 dairy cattle, 59 dairy goats, 124 meat goats, 154 pens of poultry, which necessitated us knocking out a wall in the poultry barn to put more cages in. 74 rabbits, 104 sheep, and 158 swine. We also have exhibitors, 343 youth exhibited projects in the building. And there's an additional 338 youth who have livestock in the barns this year. Another item to note is our interim outreach and after-school educator has put together a program today with approximately 45 youth from Hispanic Outreach. And so you'll see the Hispanic Outreach youth around the fairgrounds today receiving a fair experience, and for many of them experiencing the fair for the first time. So if you see them out wandering around the grounds, I'd welcome you to introduce yourselves and say hi. So all with that, I'll turn it over to our judging team.
Hello, we are the Goodhue County Dairy Judging Team, at least 3 of the 4 of us. And so I'm Kelvin Benwood.
I'm Evelyn Shuffler.
Just last August, or September, excuse me, with that we were awarded a trip to the World Dairy Expo in Madison, Wisconsin. And this, there was, I don't remember how many states competed. However, most states compile teams, composite teams of their the best judges in the state. However, we in Minnesota, we just signed a singular county that wins the contest, so that's pretty cool. And so we actually won that. And so with that, we won a opportunity to go over and see a lot of agriculture in Europe, as well as just kind of tour the countryside. And so that was great. So we won the World Dairy Expo, so that was very exciting.
So our trip was to Scotland, and we included our trip with 2 days in London. So it was a 2-week trip and we got, like I said, we were able to do some sightseeing as well as tour 4 different farms over there to see the different agricultural practices they're doing, as well as their sustainability and conservation practices they use over there. We also got to judge and took the contest over there once at the Royal Highland Show in Scotland. In that contest, we judged pairs, and Abby and I placed 3rd in that contest as a pair, and then we judged at the Charleville Agricultural Show in Ireland, and we judged as a whole team together at that, and we placed 4th at that. If you guys want to see like any pictures from our trip, we invite you to the building by the community, and we have presentations set up on a TV screen that shuffles through a slideshow. And it was a very fun trip, and it was once an opportunity for us.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I got a couple questions. One, who was your 4th member?
Brandon was.
And did you have an alternate? No. And then who were the chaperones that went with you?
Maisie Shuffler, Tiffany Clemenson, and Amy Fairbower. And the coaches of our trip, or the coaches of our team, are Emily Mollenhauer and Lindsay Tony Shuffler.
The public should really take notice. You guys placed 2nd at a world judging competition. You placed 3rd at another world judging competition. You placed 1st at World Dairy Expo. That's not an easy task. And even first at the state fair is not an easy task. You guys are amazing. Thank you.
Yes, congratulations so much. And the work they did to go around and the sponsors, the communities that supported them, and with their finances, their trip was covered 100%. So thank you to the communities. Thank you to especially all the hard work you put in, and you know it's the countless hours you've done and your coaches. It's very much appreciated.
Congratulations.
Todd?
Yes.
I'd just like to say a couple more things. One, Goodhue County Fair is unique. And the people over there with the blue shirts, whenever you see them around here, really pay attention. We are a youth-driven fair. Absolutely everything they do is geared around youth, is geared around these kind of kids, developing skills that are going to last them a lifetime. I just can't thank the Fair Board enough for all the work they do, supporting that. Our extension committee, you heard about the Hispanic outreach kids that are here today. That is a direct effect of us being willing to spend a few dollars to have a second educator, because Allie can't do this alone, not anywhere close to alone. And having that second person is really important. And the other person that's here that probably not very many people know, Tammy McCullough, is our regional extension director, who is kind of, well, okay, you might be her boss, but she thinks she's your boss. Tammy does a fantastic job. Todd and I sit on the extension committee. Really brings a lot to the county, and really appreciate you as a regional director and our staff and extension for the work they do.
For your information here, we have our second quarter financial report and our capital plan for 2024. Any questions on that from board members? At this time, I'd like to call up our soil and water. We're going to do the conservation plan of the year award.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Bo Kennedy with the Goodhue County Soil and Water Conservation District. I'm here with our current chair, Chris Hank. Thank you for the time on the agenda today. Each year, our Soil and Water Office has elected a supervisor that selects a landowner for our Conservation Farmer of the Year. This award is given to landowners or land operators who practice sound conservation practices on their farm and have proven to be good stewards of the land. This year's award winner is from our Area 3, and our elected supervisor is John Beck for that area. Our Area 3, I believe, overlaps Commissioner Anderson's, Stanton, Warsaw, Leon, and Cannon Falls Township. John Beck, unfortunately, is not able to come today due to a recent death in his family, but in his place, our board chair here, Chris, will be presenting the award today.
All right, this year the award is going to Dana and Karen Jokala. They started on a smaller acreage and slowly have transitioned larger areas to organic management over time. They are currently managing a 50 acres parcel growing organic crops and perennial habitat planting under the name of Sogan Valley Farm. They have been certified organic since 2016. Dana and Karen have grown just diversified vegetables and fruits for wholesale, farmers markets, and at one time a community-supported agriculture CSA program. The farm has an annual feeder sheep on some of the ground, as well as about 10 goats for brush control in their oak savannas. In 2022, 14 acres of kernsville were planted, which has also been managed organically. Joco's philosophy is to connect people with the land. They support people cooperatively working the land with intensive stewardship practices, annual and perennial food production, seasonal fire, grazing management, foraging wild foods, etc. They have led by example through expanding perennial plantings, both native and horticultural. They can continue to practice soil conservation while experimenting with various conservation practices and are working toward improving the soil health, incorporating diverse vegetation in annual as well as perennial crops. Saugan Valley Farm is currently in the early stages of intensive forestry work, canopy thinning in like their oak savanna, brush management, replanting, etc. Through an environmental quality incentive program called EQIP, the Joklas have planted and continue to manage their prairie vegetation on the degraded grassland areas. As a practice, Dana and Karen host routine farm walks and learning sessions for like-minded landowners interested in seeing what they have tried. Through this process, they are hoping to bring more producers on the land to share their wealth of resources through renewing the countryside, connections that are open to other creative arrangements. This dedication to conservation stewardship and their pursuit to improve the land for the next generation is why we have chosen the Saugan Valley Farm as our 2024 Goodhue Soil and Water Conservation Farmers of the Year. So please join us in thanking Dana and Karen for protecting the soil while working hard to be stewards of the land. And Karen is here to accept
Commissioner Anderson?
Having known Vic and Phyllis Jokela, the original landowners up there, would be Dana's grandparents, they are smiling today. They were very good stewards of the land themselves, and they would be very happy to know that it was being taken care of. So congratulations.
All right.
Absolutely. Just do it for the flags.
Can we get our other board members up here?
Yep.
Absolutely. Right. Thank you.
Cover me up when
on video. Thank you.
Yep, we're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. It's a pleasure to be here this morning at the Goodhue County Fair. Typically, Chuck Schwartow is the person that presents this award, and he's not able to join us today. And I do not have the radio voice that Chuck has, so bear with me. Bear with me. So the Farm Family Recognition Program has existed for over 30 years, and it honors farm families from across Minnesota on their agricultural businesses and their contributions to agriculture, but also to their communities at large. The University of Minnesota Extension, the College of Food, Ag and Natural Resource Sciences, the College of Vet Med, and the Minnesota Ag Experiment Stations, along with FarmFest, are sponsors of this award. Today, I'm joined by the next generation of the farm family that we're honoring because Tony and Maisie Scheffler are at FarmFest, where they're doing the annual recognition. So the members of the Goodhue County Extension Committee are an integral part of this award process. And this year, as I said, we have selected Tony and Maisie Scheffler and the next generation that sits behind me. So Tony's grandparents purchased this farm in 1954 and ran it mainly as a dairy, but there were also chickens, pigs, and draft horses because that's what we did. We had diversified farms. And in the 1980s, the farm became exclusively a dairy. And Tony and Maisie started farming back in 2003. The freestall barn was built in 2003, and then the tie stall barn was converted to a parlor in 2018. And they continue to make these improvements to the farm. Tony and Maisie milk with their children those 150 sold to Plainview Milk Products. They raise all their replacement heifers. They grow alfalfa and corn on 130 acres and purchase the remainder of their feed. All of this work is done by Tony and Maisie and their 4 kids. Owen, who's not with us today, but graduated from South Dakota State University with a degree in dairy production. Evelyn, who was on this award-winning dairy judging team and is a freshman at SDSU, also majoring in dairy production. Matthew and Benjamin are students at Kenyon Wanamingo schools. As you heard from the young people who are representing Goodhue County nationally in their judging, clearly Maisie and Tony have been leaders in the dairy industry and teaching the next generation of young people about dairy. I personally went to college with both Tony and Maisie, so it's wonderful to see the next generation here represented and also to see their passion for the dairy industry represented at this county fair. And it's through the hands of many, including the Agriculture Society and Extension, working collectively. We need each other to be able to have these showcase events. So without further ado, I'd like to bring forward the young people that are the next generation of the Scheffler family farm and present them with a certificate. And then just know that Tony and is getting presented with another plaque and recognition on a state level for their production in the dairy industry.
I'd just like to say congratulations. It's pretty awesome. And I'm fortunate enough to be their school bus driver too. So it's pretty great. What a wonderful family. And you worked really hard. So congratulations.
Get a photo over there.
Yeah, I'm going to stand.
Thank you.
All right, next we have a Northern Lights contest.
Briggs are gonna come up and talk with it.
I guess Scott is.
After the branding process, county staff submitted for the Northern Lights Contest award with our 2024 branding efforts, and we did receive the silver awards. This is just the application and recognition that the county did receive that award. It's mostly informational.
Thank you. Thank you to staff for all the work you did on that too. So.
And it's mostly the guy standing back there with the hooded sweatshirt who did an awful lot of work on this. We appreciate that, Briggs.
Good job, Greg.
It's really neat to see all the hits that we have gotten on Facebook. And I think, 5 years ago, we probably didn't have hardly any hits.
It's less, so a lot less.
Staffing report, project status report. Do we have any old or new business from the commissioner?
Chair, I have one.
Yes.
This week, Scott Arneson and I went up to Hennepin County. They were the ones that collected the most amount of junk for the Mighty Mississippi Cleanup Challenge. And so we presented them with a certificate of achievement and also a signed certificate of achievement from the governor. They had 64 events this spring to clean up the Mississippi River. They collected 6,600 pounds of debris. They cleaned out 86 storm drains, and they collected a lot of pounds of plastic, and I don't remember what the number of plastic was, but they did do an incredible job helping us to clean up the Mississippi. There was one more county that joined us this year, and the city of Lakeville. So I am hoping that next year we can double the amount of counties that joined us this year and see what we can do about getting the river off the most endangered rivers.
Any committee reports?
I-
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, at the tech committee, we talked a little bit about the crowd strike experience everybody went through when all of a sudden everyone's computers went down. And it is not considered a cybersecurity event because it was from a bug from an update, but it did affect all systems that, and accordingly, the state of Minnesota uses primarily CrowdStrike and Goodhue County uses CrowdStrike. So the good news was that staff got called in and responded very quickly, and it was a matter of hours before everything got up and running again. But it was a very good, actually a very bad experience, but a very good example of what can happen, what probably might happen in the future, and how quickly staff was able to respond. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all our staff that made it here today. Appreciate it, getting all the setup, getting everything together, taking time out of your day to be here. I know we do have staff within our exhibit hall here. They're sitting in on, as people come through, the sheriff's department has a big display there. Thank you. And our emergency response rig is here too. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, go and take a peek. Anything else from any board members?
I just wanted to note on you mentioned the new command center, this meeting today was able to be streamed because of the internet from the command center. So, and as Todd said, you should go see that. It's very impressive. But yeah, this meeting's live streamed from the internet off that center today. So first time we've been able to do that.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved, Anderson.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I was gonna second. All right, motion made, second. Meeting is adjourned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Thank you, everybody.